What if we told you that in 2025, a simple mistake could leave you stranded at the airport, unable to board your flight? Or that airlines are now legally required to compensate you for long delays, but only if you know how to claim it? New travel rules are shaking up everything from ID requirements to flight cancellations, and if you don't stay ahead of these changes, your next trip could turn into a nightmare. Before you book your next flight, here's what you absolutely need to know. The Real ID deadline. As of May the 7th, 2025, the Real ID Act is in full effect. This means that to board domestic flights or access certain federal facilities, you'll need a Real ID compliant driver's license or identification card. These IDs typically feature a star in the upper right corner. Without this, standard licenses will no longer suffice for air travel within the US. It's essential to distinguish between a Real ID and an enhanced driver's license, EDL. While both serve as acceptable identification for domestic flights, an EDL offers additional benefits. Issued by select states, Michigan, Minnesota, New York, Vermont, and Washington, an EDL allows US citizens to re-enter the US from Canada, Mexico, and some Caribbean countries via land or sea without a passport. However, for international air travel, a passport remains necessary. Here is what you need to do. 1. Verify your ID. Check your current driver's license or ID for the Real ID star. If absent, contact your state's Department of Motor Vehicles to learn about obtaining a Real ID or EDL. 2. Gather necessary documents. Typically, you'll need proof of identity, like a birth certificate or passport, proof of social security number, and 2 proofs of residency. 3. Plan ahead. DMV appointments can fill up quickly. It's advisable to schedule your visit well before any planned travel. Another change is the passport gender marker change. Here is what travelers need to know. In a significant policy shift, the US Department of State announced that starting January 20th, 2025, passports will no longer be issued with an X gender marker. This change affects non-binary, intersex, and gender non-conforming individuals who previously had the option to select X as their gender. So what are the implications? Well, if you currently hold a passport with an X marker, it remains valid until its expiration. New or renewal applicants must choose M, male, or F, female, on their passport applications. This selection should align with your other identification documents to prevent potential travel disruptions. Here are a couple recommendations. 1. Review your documents. Ensure consistency across all identification forms to avoid issues during international travel. 2. Stay informed. Policies can evolve. Regularly check the US Department of State's website for the latest information and guidance. Another change coming this year are some airline route changes. The aviation landscape is continually evolving. In 2025, several airlines have adjusted their routes, impacting travelers' options. Some notable changes include JetBlue Airways. The airline has discontinued routes from New York's JFK Airport to destinations like Austin, Houston, and Miami. This reduction may affect travelers relying on these direct connections. And United Airlines. United has expanded its offerings, introducing daily flights from Durango, Colorado to Houston, Texas, starting in June 2025. Here are a few traveler tips. 1. Stay updated. Before booking, verify current routes directly with airlines, as schedules can change based on demand and other factors. 2. Explore alternatives. If your preferred route is discontinued, consider connecting flights or alternative airports nearby. And 3. Set up alerts. Many travel platforms offer notifications for route changes and fare adjustments, helping you make informed decisions. There are also changes coming to airport lounge access. Tighter restrictions are on the way. For many, airport lounges offer a respite from the hustle and bustle of terminals. However, access policies are becoming more stringent in 2025. Here are some key updates. Delta Airlines has revised its Sky Club access for American Express cardholders, limiting visits to 10 or 15 per year, depending on the specific card. This change aims to reduce overcrowding and enhance the lounge experience. So what this means for you? Well, firstly, know your usage, since frequent travelers might quickly reach these limits. Monitor your lounge visits to manage your allowances effectively. Secondly, you may want to consider upgrades. If you value unlimited lounge access, Explore premium credit cards or memberships that offer enhanced benefits. And lastly, look for alternative options. Independent lounges or pay-per-use options, such as Priority Pass, can provide access without stringent limits. Have you heard of the new United Kingdom travel requirement, ETA for US travelers? Oh yes, planning a trip to the United Kingdom. Listen up! Started on January 8, 2025, US travelers must obtain an electronic travel authorization, ETA, before arrival. The ETA can be obtained online, and it's recommended to apply at least 72 hours before your trip to account for processing times. Once approved, an ETA is valid for 2 years, or until your passport expires, whichever comes first. This requirement applies to both tourists and business travellers. Even if you're transiting through the UK, an ETA may be necessary. Here are simple steps to secure an ETA. 1. Visit the official UK government website. Ensure you're accessing the legitimate portal to avoid scams. 2. Prepare necessary information. Have your passport details and travel itinerary on hand. And 3. Stay informed. Travel requirements can change. Regularly check for updates to ensure compliance. Although this is not a new change, we wanted to remind travellers that it is there. Protections for flight cancellations and delays. Air travel disruptions can be a major inconvenience. Recognizing this, the US Department of Transportation has implemented new rules to safeguard passengers' rights. Airlines are now required to automatically issue cash refunds for flights that are cancelled or significantly changed. This means passengers no longer need to navigate complex processes to reclaim their money. So what are significant changes, you ask? The Department of Transportation defines significant changes as delays that are more than 3 hours for domestic flights and 6 hours for international flights. Changes that result in departures or arrivals at different airports. If you're moved to a lower class than originally booked. And modifications that impact passengers with disabilities. Let's quickly discuss the compensation structure. Delays for international flights 6 to 9 hours. Airlines must compensate passengers between $400 and $600 depending on ticket price. Over 9 hours, compensation can go up to $1,000, particularly for premium class tickets. If your flight is cancelled and the airline cannot rebook you on a comparable flight within 3 hours, domestic, or 6 hours, international, you are entitled to a full cash refund. Airlines must now process refunds within 7 business days for credit card purchases and within 20 days for other payment methods. Here is what you should do if your flight is cancelled or delayed. Know your rights. If your delay exceeds 3 hours for domestic flights or 6 hours for international, you are entitled to compensation. Keep all receipts. If you incur extra expenses due to an airline-related delay, like hotel stays or meal costs, document everything. You may be eligible for reimbursement. Use airline apps. Most major airlines now send automatic alerts about delays, cancellations, and rebooking options. Act quickly. If your flight is cancelled, call customer service immediately and check the airline's website for self-service rebooking options. And most importantly, request cash refunds when eligible. Airlines may push vouchers instead, but you are legally entitled to cash refunds. Don't settle unless you prefer credits for future travel. These new regulations provide stronger protections for travellers, ensuring airlines are held accountable for delays and cancellations. Gone are the days of endless customer service calls and frustration. Passengers now have clearer rights and faster compensation options. So with all these changes coming into effect, here's what you need to do right now to avoid last-minute travel stress. Ensure you have a real ID or enhanced ID if flying domestically. If not, visit your DMV before the May 7, 2025 deadline. If affected by the gender marker changes, plan ahead to prevent issues at border crossings. Airlines are modifying routes, so verify your options and be flexible. If you rely on airport lounges, check your credit card or membership terms for restrictions. Apply for an ETA if travelling to the UK. And be prepared to claim refunds and compensation for delayed and cancelled flights when necessary. Travel in 2025 will be smoother for those who prepare ahead. Whether it's securing the right ID, understanding airline changes, or knowing your passenger rights, a little preparation can mean the difference between a seamless trip and a stressful travel nightmare. Have you experienced a flight cancellation or ID issue before? What's your next destination in 2025? drop a comment below. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Until next time, safe travels.